Hello and welcome back together to my weekend report on the financial markets. My name is Jens and I will today discuss with you these four major assets: S&P 500, US oil, gold and Bitcoin against the US dollar. Let's start directly with the S&P 500 index at the weekly time frame. Like we can see, we left behind the all-time high from January 2022, and since then we have made two impulses to the upside and two corrections to the downside, and because we have taken out the last all-time high, we are technically in the third weekly impulse to the upside. If we go down to the daily time frame, we can see it a little bit more in detail. Here was the end of the last weekly impulse, then we had this not so big weekly correction, and after the breakout we started the next weekly impulse. Here we can see the first daily impulse to the upside, followed by the first correction of the daily impulse. At the 4-hour time frame, we can see it a little bit more in detail. Impulse, correction, and now the second daily impulse inside the third weekly impulse to the upside. So I expect future uptrends from here, and it got this end of correction got confirmed because we left behind this all-time high and starting to make new ones. At this point, the 16th of May 2024, I bought 20% of my account balance into the S&P 500 index via ETF, and yeah, at the moment we are a little bit in profit. Yeah, I plan to hold this position till I see that the next weekly impulse, and that we are currently in, comes to an end, and then I will reduce the position. What is not allowed to happen now, I don't want to see a break below this support and resistance zone and this daily uptrend line, because if we break below that, make a retest and break this retest also to the downside and take out this daily correction, then I would expect a turning point in this market and that the overall uptrend is over and that we see lower prices maybe to the last support and resistance zone here from January 2022, or even this weekly uptrend line. But at the moment it doesn't look like that. I'm absolutely bullish on S&P 500 and plan to ride prices higher with my position. If we switch now to US oil, we can see that the monthly downtrend line drawn in red got broken to the upside, and after that we got into this weekly correction drawn with this orange downtrend line. This orange downtrend line got also broken to the upside recently and gets supported by this monthly support and resistance zone in red and the 200 moving average. If we drop down to the daily, we can see that we have also here a daily downtrend line with the first impulse to the downside, then a correction to the upside, and a second impulse to the downside. Maybe this was already low, then I would like to see a breakout, retest, breakout, and then going long on US oil, or we see a third impulse to the downside, maybe to this white dotted uptrend line here, and from there on a break, retest, and break to the upside of this daily white downtrend line. From there on I would be bullish for US oil. I think that we nearly have seen the bottom. Like I said, maybe one correction lower and then higher prices. But I will inform you about that if I take any action. If we go to gold on the weekly time frame, we can see we had this long period where price wasn't able to break above this resistance zone on the weekly time frame, and then price, supported by this weekly uptrend line, got finally above this zone, and from there on we are in a new bull market environment. But price has run pretty hot. We can see on the MACD indicator that we are about to cross to the downside, and this looks pretty much like a double top, and I expect lower prices from here, a healthy correction. We can see it a little bit more in detail if we go down to the daily time frame. We had an impulse, a correction, and then the final breakout to the upside above this long-term support and resistance zone. I have drawn here a white dotted uptrend line on the daily. That one got broken to the downside and this idea that we see lower prices from here got supported by a divergence in the MACD indicator. The divergence is shown by lower highs in the MACD indicator, but higher highs in price action. So normally price follows the MACD divergence. So I expect lower prices. We have seen a small correction to the upside after the break of this daily uptrend line, and then on last Friday we have seen this massive engulfing candle to the downside. And yeah, I expect a failed cycle with getting below this level around $2,280 or the 0.382 Fibonacci retracement level. And yeah, my favorite scenario would be that we go all the way down back to this daily uptrend line and this daily support and resistance zone. And from there on, I would expect higher prices again and an end of this weekly correction. And I would open there heavily long-term positions for the next weekly cycle to the upside. If we go down on the 4-hour time frame, we can see it a little bit more in detail. Here I was able to draw a 4-hour downtrend line in blue dotted and a possible small resistance zone on the 4-hour time frame. Maybe price bounce here to the upside, retesting this accumulation zone, and from there on got sold again to these lower levels. I think at the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level I would be interested and cautious about taking long positions, but I will keep you updated on my actions. At the weekly on Bitcoin, we can see we are still in all-time high territory, but price has some difficulties of getting ultimately higher highs. And yeah, if we drop to the daily, we can see it a little bit better. The primary way is up, but with some bigger corrections. We had, like in S&P 500, one impulse to the upside, one correction to the downside, and from there on I was able to draw this weekly uptrend line in orange. Then we had the second surge to the upside, and then a little bit longer, more choppy correction. The correction is technically over if we see prices above the last all-time high. We haven't seen that, but I'm confident that this is the lowest point of this correction. Maybe we will retest this daily support and resistance zone again, but price shouldn't go lower than this point, or it shouldn't break this support and resistance zone in combination with the weekly uptrend line to the downside. If we would see that, a retest and a break of this smaller correction, then I would be again bearish for Bitcoin. That would change my perspective on price action, and from there on I would be selling some of my position I built up at the 16th of May or the 15th. I'm not pretty sure what date it was exactly. And yeah, from there on lower prices. Maybe retesting this area here around $45,000 or even the monthly uptrend line. I'm not sure where we would hit it. But at the moment I'm still pretty bullish on Bitcoin and I hold my position. If you go down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that I bought this one after breaking out of this daily downtrend line. And yeah, there's a possibility that we never get below this point. If we look at this 4-hour dotted downtrend and uptrend line, we can see we broke above it, but also below it. And yeah, I'm not pretty sure where price will go. Maybe we'll see the next impulse to the upside and making higher highs from there on. Then this consolidation zone would be over. But there's also the possibility that because of the break of this uptrend line, we see first lower prices, maybe retesting this support zone again. There I would probably load up a little bit more on Bitcoin and strengthen my position for the next weekly move to the upside. And yeah, I keep you updated on it. I hope you have good trading results and make research by yourself always. And I wish you much fun with it. Bye bye. See you or hear you next week.